The 1980s, famous for bright colors, hairstyles that you're pretty sure your mom still wants to encapsulate, and Satanism. Yes, from backwards scrubbing music to find hidden satanic messages. To blaming D&D for all of the world's violence, it was the best time in America's history to be a religious fucking nutjob. You're probably thinking to yourself, what does this have to do with gun violence in the modern day being influenced by video games? I promise you we're getting there, but this will all make sense. Because the satanic panic of the 1980s laid down the foundation for the current mentality of blaming media sources for real-world tragedies. But in a Tim Curry fashion, let's time warp back into the 1980s for a moment. Due to the overwhelming amount of backward scrubbing, also known as backmasking, done by the public, music producers saw this as a highly marketable resource. I guess when there's no YouTubers for record companies to bully, you gotta be a little more creative. Probably the most well-known purposefully backmasked song is by Weird Al Yankovic called Nature Trail to Hell. But then in 1994, Marilyn Manson releases the album A Portrait of an American Family. By this point in time, a lot of people started realizing that the satanic panic was kind of fucking stupid. This is where we begin the witch hunt on atheists.
A book burning?
Come on, grab an armful! We have to destroy everything that's harmful to God!
So 1994, people are exchanging their leg warmers for baggy pants, and hip-hop is all the rage. The heavy metal scene is still going strong. People are a little less afraid of Iron Maiden. Though to be honest, I'm terrified of Iron Maiden because Dave Mustaine was so fucking drunk, he got fired from Metallica.
Hello, me. Meet the real me.
No thanks, I don't want to meet any version of you, Dave Mustaine. But who would go on to become one of the most prolific heavy metal artists of all time, Marilyn Manson, started releasing some of the most controversial music. Utilizing the backmasking techniques of the 1980s, Marilyn Manson released a song called Get Your Gun. When the track is played in reverse, phonetically you can hear the words false Christians over and over. While this may sound unintentional, it very much is meant to replicate the Stairway to Heaven backmasking satanic messages. Though in this instance, instead of satanic messages, a lot of Marilyn Manson's songs, when backmasked, lean less on Satanism and more on atheism. Atheism is actually a huge part of Marilyn Manson's persona. For example, in the song Beautiful People, Manson criticizes the vanity of religious people by saying it's all relative to the size of your steeple, which is also a clever dick joke. Now, if I go into the comments, I'm sure someone's going to say, but Marilyn Manson is a ordained minister of a satanic church. To which I'd say, first of all, that's not true. He was given honorary priesthood at one point in time, but he's not an ordained minister of the satanic church. Secondly, there is a difference between theistic Satanism, such as the Luciferians, and the more popular version of Satanism, which Marilyn Manson is affiliated with, LaVeyan Satanism. I myself am a LaVeyan Satanist. I have a tattoo of Baphomet on my left shoulder, you know, because the left side is the bad side, apparently. And LaVeyan Satanism is basically the edgier version of atheism. Now, while in the 1980s, LaVeyan Satanism was feared as devil worship, I want you to keep in mind that this entire time I've been bringing up Satanists, I am talking about theistic, actual believing in demons and sacrificing people to them, Satanists. All tangents aside, a lot of Christian moms didn't like the fact that their edgy teenagers were listening to Marilyn Manson. I mean, when you market yourself as the god of fuck, it's a little bit hard to get people on your side. The more that Marilyn Manson spread his atheistic message, the more the public outcry was towards atheism as a whole. So much so that in the late 90s, even Pokemon was under fire for promoting witchcraft and evolution. Around this time, Doom came out, and it was highly controversial for being one of the most violent video games ever made, which is ironic looking back on it because by our standards, it's pretty fucking tame. And now we reach April 20th. 1999. What could only be described as a foreshadowing of our current day situation of mass shootings in schools. Columbine. And the two things that were blamed the most were Marilyn Manson and Doom. The violent music, the gore and blood in video games, all of it was said to be the reason why Dylan and Eric shot up Columbine. Instead of looking into their mental health and how they felt alone in the world, everyone decided to blame music and video games. And yet we live in a culture where the best job we've ever done at talking about mental health is a shoddy recreation in the show 13 Reasons Why as to what mental illness is like in teenagers. It's sad that such a complex thing is being dumbed down and romanticized for a Netflix show. Other countries that have access to the same type of media that we have access to do not experience the same levels of mass shootings. Stop me if you've heard this before. The FBI were aware of the shooter's social media history, but did not act upon it. We don't need to ban violent video games. We need to have a better mental health standard. Now remember back to the Satanic Panic and how the industry that was being attacked responded. It's not a stretch of the imagination to say that there will be more and more controversial video games coming out. The Satanic Panic and Atheist witch hunt might have ended, but we're still using the same flawed mentality that caused several people to be imprisoned for witchcraft. Which is why I have come to the conclusion that the war on video games, as it's being called, is the new Atheist witch hunt. It is the new Satanic Panic. Because people don't like tackling the real issues if the real issues are complicated. We'd rather just blame it on something simple and get rid of it, even though it won't solve anything. Thank you guys for listening to me ramble for about 8.5 minutes. Whether you agree or disagree with me, I'm always down to have a conversation in the comments down below. If you want to hear more about the crazy nut jobs of the 1980s and the Satanic Panic, there's a link in the description down below that will take you to a Seth Andrews presentation that talks all about it. If I sound off in this video, I'm sorry. I'm currently dealing with a 2nd-degree burn on my middle and big toe, and it's eaten away a lot of the skin, and I'm in constant pain, so I'm kind of trying to hold back the tears while recording this. I usually don't show this much, but this took a lot of research and time, so if you liked it, please consider sharing it with a friend. Even if you didn't like it, send it to people so they can come laugh at me. And with all that out of the way, that's all I got.